I can see clearly now, my crack has gone. Probably shouldn't say that, should I? Right, let's get out of it. It's wheel alignment next, and there's a place locally that specialises in Volvos. Good morning, early start today. I'm off to get a windscreen put in this car because it has a massive crack, about 1 metre long, and needs a windscreen. After that, it needs four-wheel alignment. After that, it needs my new wheels on it, and then we're done. That's it. That is everything for this car, and it's ready to drive to Le Mans. So let's go get a windscreen. Right, there we are then at Auto Windscreens. So windscreen going in, that's going to be a couple of hours. I'm going to go off to Starbucks and do some work while that happens. I guess I should show you the, I'll show you the big crack. So this was when I got the car. It happened before the car got to me. But you can see it starts there and then goes all the way down in a great big C shape to the bottom. And it was funny because when I phoned my insurance and they said, is it longer than 10 centimetres? I said, love, it's about 1 metre long. So that's all going to be good. And fresh windscreen. So after that, then it should be vehicle tracking, then new alloy wheels, and then on the ferry for Le Mans. So that's the plan. In terms of the windscreen, the seal is formed by the glue itself. So that seal is just cosmetic, so that'll get a new seal at the end of it, which is close but not completely the same as the factory one, slightly larger. But the problem that I've had on other Volvos, and if you've had these 850s and V70s, you'll know, they can leak from the top of the windscreen. So on my red one, I've had to get in there with silicone because you can actually see light through the glue. Hopefully this will go in and be all good. That'll be that, right? I'm gonna get out these guys' hair and go and have some coffee. I'm in Briley Hill basically, so I've been killing a bit of time whilst waiting for my windscreen to be done. So I'm at the Merry Hill Centre. Pretty shocked at just how much the Merry Hill Centre has changed since if you grew up around here, chances are you worked in a shop at the Merry Hill Centre when you were like a teenager, and used to come shopping here when I was a teenager as well. And all the shops that I used to shop in are gone. Top Shop and Top Man, do you remember that? Well, that was, what's his name, wasn't it? That was part of the, that was over there. And then Burton, I worked in Burton up here as well. That was, what's his name? Philip Green, the scumbag that owned Top Man, Top Shop, Arcadia Group, that was it. And he went bust, didn't he? And all the shops went, and there was an uproar, you know, people got on with their lives, and he's probably living on a boat in Monte Carlo. But yeah, I'm pretty staggered at the general decline of places. I mean, there's an NHS blood test centre here that seems to be just about the busiest place. I mean, fair enough, it's 10 to 11 on a Monday morning. But yeah, there we go. Come and get your... Why is everybody getting blood tests? I don't know why so many people need blood tests, but there we go. I did buy a couple of Frisbees. Well, it was on offer, £12 down to £8. These are the best Frisbees, actually. They're really, really good. And then she scanned it through the till and said, actually, it's coming up at £6. I said, jackpot, I'll have 2 of them, because these are great for on the beach with the kids. So my windscreen has cost me £12 in Frisbees, and I spent a little bit on Mrs. Geoff, actually. I bought a few bits for Mrs. Geoff. You know, she was the star of yesterday's video. And I got her a couple of tops that she'll like. Text her, said, I got you a present. So I'm in the good books. And now I'm going to walk back and collect my car because they phoned me and said the windscreen is done. So a little walk and talk. It's kind of strange, isn't it? Revisiting the places where you were a lot when you were younger. Spent many Christmases working in the Merry Hill Centre. Worked at TK Maxx as well for a little while. That's now gone and is a Hollywood Bowl. Yeah, I worked at Burton, sold a lot of shoes. Yeah, I used to come out at the end of the day when the Merry Hill Centre was closed, after you'd cashed up the tills and whatnot, and then it would have snowed and you'd be in the one big car park that nobody uses, and we'd be doing handbrake turns in a Ford Fiesta. Kids, I feel like kids don't do that anymore because they all buy cars on finance. They can't afford to crash them into lampposts, can they? So they don't. Here we are then, all done. Auto windscreens. I did actually end up going through my insurance for this. I did phone Volvo and they wanted 900 quid. And then I phoned an independent and they wanted £845. So I phoned my insurer and I said, I need a windscreen. And the amount of insurance policies I've bought over the years, I've never ever had to do a windscreen. This is the first one. So let's go and take a look. Nice easy job, was it? Yeah, straightforward. A brand new screen. That is all done. Is the old one knocking around? Have you scrapped it? It's in the skip. Good stuff. So there we go. That's quite exciting, that. I've never had a fresh screen on a car. I shouldn't be as excited about that as I am. And new windscreen seal. It's not quite standard, but that's gone on nicely, hasn't it? You can't really tell any different. Good. Yep, pleased with that. Lovely. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I can see clearly now, my crack has gone. Probably shouldn't say that, should I? Right, let's get out of it. It's wheel alignment next, and there's a place locally that specialises in Volvos, and I just phoned them, and they are good to go. So let's get over there. Heritage Motors, this is the one. Never remember which turn it is. Wonder if they've got some old school Volvos knocking around. Yep, there's a C70, two C70s there actually. Right, interesting. Let's go check them out. Cool, so that's going in now. Hopefully this is all going to go well due to the amount of work that has gone on this car. I mean, this is the last piece of the puzzle now, so this needs to go well. Just while we're here, let's just go and have a quick look at this Fiesta. See that? Mark V Z-Tech S. That is very cool. Looks clean as well. I like that a lot. Gentlemen just said that they took that Fiesta, it's only a 40,000 mile car, they took that Fiesta to Caffeine and Machine, and it stole the show in front of all the Lamborghinis and everything. I can believe that. That's a cool car. Bit of an old school business, this one. They just know what they're doing with old Volvos. I'm going to show you some of the posters on the wall. So I like this one. Get to know your electric vehicles. So battery electric vehicle. The traction battery is all the way along the bottom, and then you've got the thermal systems here. Obviously, in most of your modern stuff, you've got traction battery at the back there. It's pretty self-explanatory, but from an engineer sort of technician point of view, it's important to know where this stuff is when you're working on these cars, just in case something does go wrong. I mean, if this was to go up whilst you're underneath a car, it's not going to cause major danger to you, but also to your business. Anyway, 80 years of Volvo. So here is a little bit of Volvo history, starting with PV56, PV800 back in 1938, and you can see the development. If I hold the camera properly, you can see the development of the Volvos. PV544, I went on holiday in Norway with some good friends of mine. We found one of these in a forest, abandoned, which is pretty cool. P1800, the one obviously everybody loves. You'll probably remember that from the Saint. The 262 was a Bertone Coupe. That was a very interesting car indeed. And then you've got the 2 Series, which is the one everybody remembers, which followed on the 145 and 144, so saloon and then estate. The 240 ran for many years before they replaced it, or they tried to replace it with the 740, which was up there. But everybody loved the 240 so much, the 240 stayed in production for ages. It was the same with the 940 as well, actually. A 940 went past us the other day, and my kids said, oh, is that one older than ours? And it was actually newer. The 940 lasted until something like 1997. They just couldn't drop it from the range. 850 came in 1993 and ran only until 1996-7 before it was replaced by the V70, and things got much more modern. But that is 80 years of Volvo. We're thinking, Geoff, why do you love Volvos so much? I think it's partly because when I was a kid, my dad had a 940 and then a 960, and we had the rear-facing seats, and we used to go on holiday in those cars. But my dad never had 850s. He had 9 Series cars. I can't tell you why I love the 850s as much as I do. I mean, I've owned so many of them. They are pretty much the only cars I want to be driving long term. And I don't know, maybe it's just the layout of the cabin, I'm just very comfortable in an 850. I like the layout of the dashboard, I like the simplicity of the cars, I like that they have a massive boot aperture, they're big and square, but also, particularly with the diesels, they're cheap enough for me to run every day. I can get 45 to the gallon all day long out of these cars, and most of the other Volvos that we've just looked at, you're getting half that. That's why I will always look out for the Volvo 850 TDIs because I run them as my main cars. I mean, you could give me all the money in the world, and I think I'd still drive diesel Volvo 850s. I just absolutely love them. There's not really anything else that I want to be in. I've enjoyed my BMWs. I enjoyed the BMW X5 that we had with the big panoramic roof, and I enjoyed the 3 Series that I did the John O'Groats challenge in, but not enough to put them into, you know, work as my main family car. We just enjoy a Volvo. I think Mrs. Geoff quite likes a Volvo as well. She likes a BMW. She is partial to a BMW, but she's very tolerant of all our Volvo stuff. And you know, we did a 3,000 mile road trip to Portugal in my red 850 TDI, and they're just part of the family. The red one will never go anywhere. That will always be with me. My kids are dead attached to that car as well. So after the Le Mans trip, after this one's done, we'll keep the green one up until the point that the red one is ready. The red one still needs, in fact, I've got to do to the red one pretty much all the stuff that I've done to the green one, so that'll be next after Le Mans. But yeah, why do I love Volvo so much? I can't fully tell you, I just do. Right, so now that this car's up in the air, I can show you. Do you remember I said I nearly bought that T5 Estate the other day, but I gave up because it was rusty? This is the chassis rail at the back of the car. They don't tend to rust here unless, if they've had a tow bar mounted and it hasn't been rust protected, that's when they will rust out of the back. So this has got a bit of surface rust, and I've got the hole there that I highlighted in yesterday's video, but the chassis rails are actually very solid. Now, the one I nearly bought was holed all along this side of the chassis rail and all underneath as well. So that's what, when I saw that was the point where I just thought, no, I've got to back out of this car, that's too much. The other thing with this car is the bumper does look like it's falling off slightly. That's these bumper brackets at the back. That is like a C-shaped clamp that clamps onto the bumper, and you can see that they just rust out. The chassis rail's solid. You could buy a new bracket. You basically take the bracket off, take the bumper off, put the new bracket on and new bolts. But for some reason, the bolts are really long and they're really expensive from Volvo. The bolts end up costing you like 40 quid. So that's another job to do on this car. Add it to the list of small jobs that need doing. So a little bit of adjustment on the rear tracking, because they are fully adjustable, these Volvos. They're adjustable front and rear. So that's what we're trying to do now, trying to loosen the bolt off to give us that little bit of adjustment on the back. That's the plan anyway. And then I've spoken to Funky Fuel this morning about attacking that hole next week. As I said in yesterday's video, it's not structural. You can see the chassis rail there, that's structural, but that is not. That's just like the boot liner basically. But again, that's part of the reason I love these Volvos, because they don't tend to rust too badly unless they've lived by the sea, like the one I nearly bought the other day. Always noises with old cars, aren't there? Always noises. Right, tracking's been done, and I actually drove away, turned around, and went back because it was still pulling to the left. We've done basically as good a job as possible. So the next step, when all my plastics have stopped rattling, is change the wheels for my new wheels, do the roof rails, possibly, and then carry on. Right, starting to look a little bit more like a Volvo 850 now instead of a shed. So next step is go see if I've got some wheel center caps and then put some roof rails on. Right, let's go. All right, first run out on the new wheels. No warning lights, not that there would be, but you never know. Right, let's go down to the unit where the other car is and see what's what. A couple of last minute thefts from the parts car. I've had the roof rails and I've just sort of kind of rounded off that bolt in the middle. I'm trying to get my roof rails onto my 850. I was hoping I had a full set of center caps, but I don't. I've only got one. So, George has got some. He's just texting me now. I'm trying to work out how far away he is because I do want a set of centre caps. And my bumper looks like it's completely falling off because I've nicked the arch liner out the back of the... Basically, the arch liner keeps the... pretty much holds the bumper on a Volvo, especially when the rear bracket is rusted out. So, that's all still to do. Right, I'm going to try and get this off. And then I can put them on the other car. Just rounded it off. It's the last bolt. Come on, I can get this out. I found some centre caps on the old race car that is off the road and out of MOT. And I've put them on there. So now we have 4 centre caps. Right, it's all coming together. I'll crack on. Okay, that is the end of today. This is how we've ended up. New windscreen in, new wheels on, new tyres on. I've only got one mud flap on this side. You'll notice there's a mud flap missing on the other side and the number plate. I need to put my number plate on. But we're looking good. Tomorrow it's going to have a polish. I'm going to put that mud flap on. I've got to put the roof rails back on. Tried to get those on tonight, but I basically ruined the top of the final bolt, so I didn't quite get that done. But that's fine. That can get done tomorrow. It'll go for a big clean and a polish. I need to put the rear bumper back on properly. But we're cooking on gas and it's looking a lot better than it used to. I'm quite happy with that. Cool. Right, on to the next day. Right, well, it is now the next day, but I didn't stop last night. I carried on. I fitted these roof bars, which Tom kindly gave to me. These are Volvo roof bars. So we now have some roof bars on there as well. But also yesterday, I got the wheels off again. I took the arch liner out, the plastic arch liner. I cleaned them in the shower. And I cleaned my mud flaps in the shower. Mrs. Geoff doesn't know this. So I cleaned off all the plastic arch liners. I then undersealed everything that was behind there. Then I came out as it was getting dark and I refitted everything. So all of the rear arches have now been undersealed and refitted with perfectly clean plastic arch liners. I went a little bit over the top. I've also reattached the arch liner at the back here. It was all a bit of a nightmare. I don't have the factory correct clips, but I've done as best as I can to secure that because, as I said, the arch liner does kind of hold the bumper in place. So I've just done what I can with the time that I had. But yeah, there we go. That is the end of today's video because it is now the next day and I need to go and start the activities that are happening today because today is the last day. We're driving to Le Mans tomorrow. So by tonight, this car needs to be packed full of camping gear and ready to go. There's still a few bits that I want to get done. So thank you very much for watching. The code word, if you made it to the end of the video, is I quite fancy going to Le Mans, Geoff, but I don't fancy all that prep. All right, new video.